welcome to Tuesday's lesson. So remember, it's all about consolidation work for this week and next week. So today we're going to be going over doubling and halving. Okay, so let's do some examples together and remind ourselves what we need to do. So these are some facts that hopefully you should already know. So let's see if you can write them down before I do. So half of 20, see if you can write that one down. Nice and easy, 10. Half of 40, see if you can write that one, 20. Half of 60, 30. And half of 100 is 50. And nice and easy to get us started. So if you remember, for halving a number, it's the same as dividing by how many, dividing by what. Hopefully you remembered that it was the same as dividing by 2. Now these ones are slightly trickier on the right hand side of the board because they are odd numbers. So half of 50, see if you remember what that is, half of 50. That takes us to 25. And then we've got half of 70. So hopefully, if you don't know these already, I want you to write these down because it will help you with today's task. Half of 30 is 15. And half of 90 is 45. Okay, so if you're unsure of those and didn't know them, then what I want you to do is write those down. You can pause the video and make a note of those somewhere so you can refer to them throughout today's lesson. So let's have a go at doubling. So if halving was dividing by 2, doubling is timesing by how many? Okay, hopefully you remember it's timesing by 2. So what we would do, some of these are quite easy, but we'll go through the method we would use and then you will get into the habit of it. So if you don't know already, we're going to double each number individually. So 0 times 2, or doubled, is 0. Then we've got my tens, so 0 tens times it by 2 is 0. And 400s, okay, so 400 times 2 gives me 800, which is the same as 4 times 2. And then I would add all those together, so 800 add 0 leaves me with 800. 15, so again, we're doubling. So if you don't know already, you should know from the previous slide, but if you were unsure, 5 times 2, or double 5, gives me 10. Now this one isn't a 1, it's a 10. So I'm not just doing double 1 and write 2, because if we added those together, 2 plus 10, I would get 12. Well, that's wrong. You've got to remember it's in the tens column, so it's double 10, which is 20. So it'd be 20 at 10, which would be 30. If you'd written that, alarm bell should have been ringing straight away, because if we're doubling it, we're making the number bigger. Well, 12 is smaller, less than 15. Okay, so you've got to look at what column it's in, and don't look at it as a single digit. Think of it as a 10 or 100 or 1,000. So over to 68. So we're going to double the 8. So double 8 is 16. So hopefully you know that. If not, times it by 2. 8 times 2 is 16. Now again, it's not 6. It's in the tens column, so it's 60. 60 times 2 is 120. So I've got to add these two together now. So if you can't do it, if you're unsure, write a sum. 120 add 16. But I would do 120, add the 10, gives me 130. Add the 6 is 136. And 150 then to finish us off. So 0 doubled is 0. Now it's not 5, it's 50. So 50 times 2, or double 50, is 100. And then I've got my hundreds column. So 100 times 2 is 200. And then you must remember to add them all together at the end. 200 add 100 leaves you with 300. Okay? Now we're doing the opposite this time. So that time we times, this time we're going to halve the number. So they're going to end up smaller. So we're going to use the same method, going to halve each side and then add them together. So half of 8 is 4. If you're unsure, divide it by 2. How many 2's go into 8? 2, 4, 6, 8, 4. And half of 20 is 10. Add them together. 10 add 4 gives me 14. 52. So half of 2 is 1. 50 now, tricky one. Can you remember what is half of 50? Remember, it's an odd number, so it has got a 5 at the end. 25. Add them together, 26. So as long as you remember to do each number individually and then add them at the end, you shouldn't go wrong. Half of 4 is 2. Half of 60, not 6, half of 60 is 30. Add them together at the end, 32. And finally, half of 6 is 3. My 3 is in my tens. So half of 30, again, it's an odd number. So it's a 5 at the end. This time it's 15. Add them together, gives me 18. So this one and this one, if you've written all that information down from a few slides ago, that would help you when it comes to halving the trickier ones. So if you haven't done already and you think that will help you, just put the video back, pause it and just write down the amounts. So half of 36 is 3, we've just done that actually, and 15 gives us 18. Now, you should know straight away, without having to work that one out, what's half of 200? So you can shout it at me. What's half of 200? Hopefully you were screaming 100, nice and easy. So if you know it, you don't have to do all the working out, it's just there to break it down to guide you through. Half of 120, so 0. This is my tens and my hundreds, so half of 20 is 10, and half of 100 is 50. 50 add 10 is 60, add 0, still 60. Half of 8 is 4, tricky one again, tens and hundreds. Half of 70 is 35, and half of 100 is 50. 50 add 35, add 4. So if you're struggling, write it as a column addition. You should be doing 50 in your head, add on the tens, 50 plus 30 is 80, add 5, 85, add 4, 89. Okay, so as long as you're remembering to halve each number or double each number individually and then add them together, you should be doing okay. Okay, so final couple of examples. This is if you get onto section C. Okay, so we've got a missing number that we need to find the answer to. So if something times by 2 gives us 1,480. Okay, so the opposite of times is divide. So I can divide this number by 2 and it should give me the right answer. 0, half of 0 is 0. Half of 80 is 40. Half of 400 is 200. Need to add all these together. And half of 1,000 is 500. So 500 add 200, is 500 add 200 is 700. Add 40, 740. If I double that to check, it'd be 0, 80, and 1,400. And we've got 1,480 altogether, so got that one right. So exactly the same here, we're going to do the opposite. So half of 0 is 0, half of 400 is 200, half of 6,000 is 3,000. Add them together, so I've got 3,000, 200, 0 tens, 0 units. 3,200. So you're doing the opposite. Okay, here we need to do the opposite again. So divide by 2. So we're going to times by 2 for both of them because we're doing the reverse. So double 0 is 0. Double 80 is not 180, is 160. And double 900 is 1,800. Now we need to add them together. So if you can't do that in your head, you can do a sum. So let's add them up. Alternatively, so 1,800, put your 100 on first, that becomes 1,900. Then add on your 60, 1,960. And there's no unit, so 1,960. And the same with the last one. Double 0 is 0. Double 20 is 40. And double 600 is 1,200. Add them together. 1,200. Now this is only 40. So my hundreds doesn't change, 4 in my tens and zeros in my units. 1,240. Now I know that was just a quick whistle-stop tour of what you're doing today, but we've all done doubling and halving before. Just take your time, do each number independently, check on Firefly what your maths group is expected to do. You should have all the sheets there for you. Good luck.